7 Days to Die Alpha 20 can be a difficult game for new players. There are a lot of ways to die, but in today's video I'm going to be telling you some ways to avoid some of the most common and yet easily avoided deaths in 7 Days to Die Alpha 20. The first tip is how to avoid death in the open at night. On standard difficulty settings, zombies will walk during the day and run at night. Most people are aware of this, and even if you play Insane Nightmare where the zombies are always running, nighttime is still more difficult. On any difficulty, feral zombies can spawn in the wild at night. If you're new to the game and don't know what a feral zombie is, basically they're like normal zombies, but they have glowing eyes, they have much more health, they do twice as much damage, they have a resistance to staggering and knockdown, and on top of all of that, they also have a resistance to decapitation. And they always run, regardless of the time of day. This makes ferals one of the more difficult things you can encounter on your first night. And to put it bluntly, if you try and fight one of these head on with a wooden club, in your first couple of nights, you're going to die. But what can you do to not die to them? Well, one of the easiest ways to survive ferals is to not fight them at all early on. And the way to do that is a very easy trick that even the main menu tips give you. I guarantee most of you have never actually tried to use it. Throw a rock to distract them. If you encounter a zombie at night that you don't feel you're ready to take on, whip a rock on your hotbar and throw it using the left mouse button. All the zombies which hear where that rock lands will run at it to investigate it, allowing you to manipulate the placement of zombies. Those of us who play on insane difficulty and can die in just 2 hits from a feral may find a use for 7 Days to Die's forgotten rock throwing mechanic after all. One thing to note about this mechanic though is that it doesn't work on animals, which is an issue as animals spawn a lot more frequently at night. Your best bet would be to carry around a spare land claim block. Build a pillar with the middle block as your land claim block. Then aggro the animal over to you. The animal will try and hit the land claim block rather than going for the 2 other wood blocks around it, as it should be at their head height. From there you just have to wear it down with whatever weapons you have on hand, as the land claim block has about 7,000 health and will last a long time in this scenario. It is worth noting though that boars are not as tall as other animals and will attack the bottom block. Use the land claim block there if you're fighting boars on high difficulties, but you should be able to kill a boar before it destroys wood anyway. From first night problems to horde night problems, in Alpha 20 you may have found yourself dealing with a lot of base damage issues. That's because the fun pimps doubled down on an AI mechanic called Destroy Area. When a zombie falls, they'll go into an enraged state, attacking nearby blocks for a short time. There is a way, however, to prevent this mechanic from even happening, and that is to damage the zombies whilst they're in Destroy Area mode. The best way to do this in the early game is just good old fashioned spikes. Later on though, you'll want to upgrade to electric fences or blade traps. The zombies will fall down onto the traps, take damage, stop trying to fight your base and come running back to you. Hopefully that tip is very useful for those of you who make elevated horde base designs and have been finding a few of your pillars have been breaking in Alpha 20. Another very common death in 7 Days to Die is fall damage, or more accurately, dying as a result of a broken leg from fall damage. One way you can avoid any damage whatsoever from falling is by eating some oh shit drops first. You can buy them from vending machines for 100 dukes. This is a great way to get back down a skyscraper without taking any damage. But most falling injuries aren't exactly premeditated, so what can you do before and after a fall to prevent severe injuries? The impact bracing mod, when attached to boots, will reduce fall damage and the chance of broken legs. Parkour perk will also reduce fall damage significantly, while allowing you to jump 2 blocks higher, and as you increase the rank of parkour, you will completely prevent broken legs and later sprained legs from falling. At some point in your playthrough, parkour is a great investment for just not dealing with leg injuries. But let's say you do break or sprain your leg, what can you do? Well, first you can of course use a splint to reduce the time it takes for it to heal. Plaster cast will reduce this time even more. You can use the healing factor perk to heal at double speed, and you can use the health bar to achieve a similar effect. And these do work together by the way, so using both is best. Finally, Alpha 20 added a quality of life improvement that I will continue to tell people about until everyone knows. Steroids can be used to prevent broken and sprained limbs from damaging you while sprinting or jumping or falling, which will stop them from getting worse, making sure that that broken leg doesn't last any longer than it has to. With all that, you should never suffer a broken leg lag related death again. The last tip I can give you to make sure you die a lot less counters the biggest killer in 7 Days to Die: bad perk builds. Some people give really bad advice when it comes to perks. One of the classic starter builds that people give out to new players is Healing Factor, Pain Tolerance, Iron Gut, and Rule 1 Cardio. All these perks are decent, but don't use your first 4 starting points on them. If you want to not die on hard difficulties, you need to focus on your damage output, gear acquisition, and resource collection. Passive survival perks like the previous 4 I mentioned are a convenience. Infiltrator, Treasure Hunter, Pack Mule, Armor perks, and almost all of the Fortitude tree are passive luxury perks that won't do you much good in the early game. You want to focus on making sure you can kill effectively first and foremost. Best way to do this in my opinion is by leveling Sexual Tyrannosaurus, the strength attribute, and a weapon skill. On Insane Nightmare I put 2 of my first starting points into strength. This is going to increase my headshot damage and decapitation chance. And then 2 into Sexual Tyrannosaurus to maximize the amount of swings I can take, and then after that I go even more into strength and Sexual Tyrannosaurus, and then once I have rank 3 of Sexual Tyrannosaurus I go for my damage perks like Pummel Pete to make better weapons and hit harder. With those perks you'll be equipped to survive basic fights on harder difficulties. From there you should choose between resource gathering in the form of Miner 69er and Motherlode, or go for better gear in the form of Daring Adventurer and Better Barter. Now this is hardly the only way to play, but this is a very easy build to play. So if you have fun with other builds and can get it to work, go ahead and use those. I won't try and ruin your fun. That last tip is for those people who've been getting stomped because someone told them to invest in random passive skills that they won't even notice the effects of until much later in the game. Trust me, being able to swing your club 3 to 4 more times before running out of stamina, doing more headshot damage, and unlocking more damage perks for your weapon is considerably more helpful than using slightly less food, regenerating slightly more health, taking slightly less damage, and being able to run slightly longer. Make good perk choices and you'll die a whole lot less. Now that you know several more ways to die less in 7 Days to Die, there's another thing you should focus on to ensure your survival: making everything else dead. And an efficient way to make everything else dead is with special ammo types. If you want to learn more about these ammo types, check out this video popping up on the right. Thank you to my channel members for making these videos possible, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.